My name is Jordan Reyes. I am 32 years old and sitting in the corner office of the company I built from nothing, the same company where my stepbrother now works for me, and where I fired him on his first day. I had been working on that business, planned for 3 years. Blood trickled down my temple as my stepmother laughed in the corner. My stepbrother stood over me, his face contorted with rage. "You'll never be anything," he spat. "You are just a leech." I never imagined my dream would end like this. If you're watching this, I would love to know where you're viewing from. Please hit subscribe and like if my story resonates with you. The journey I am about to share changed everything. I grew up in a house that always felt too small. Not because it was a decent 2-story in a quiet neighborhood in Fresno, California, with a patch of grass out front that my dad mowed every Sunday like clockwork, but because of the weight inside it, the kind of weight that doesn't show up on scales, the kind that settles in your chest and never leaves. My mom died when I was 8. Car accident. Rainy night. A semi-lost control on the 99. That's all I remember. The rest is fragments. The smell of hospital antiseptic. The way my dad's hands shook when he held mine. The sound of a zipper closing over a body bag. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I know now. After that, everything changed. Dad worked double shifts at the warehouse. He didn't talk much. Just nodded, grunted, sometimes stared at the TV with bloodshot eyes while I sat on the floor doing homework. We didn't hug. We didn't cry. We just existed, like ghosts in the same house. Then, 2 years later, he met Diane. She moved in with her son, Tyler. He was 10. I was 10. Same age, same school, same grade. At first, I thought, maybe this is good. Maybe we'll be like brothers. But Tyler wasn't. Like other kids, he didn't play, he didn't laugh. He watched, always watching, like he was measuring you, calculating. The first time I saw him break something, it was my mom's music box. The one she left me, wooden, hand-carved birds on the lid. Played Claire de Lune. I kept it on my nightstand. One morning I went to open it. The lid was cracked. The mechanism was shattered. Tyler was in the hallway, eating cereal. He looked at me, shrugged. Must have fallen. But I didn't believe him. I stood there, for a long time, holding the broken box. The birds were split down the middle. One wing gone. I didn't say anything. I just wrapped it in a sock and buried it under my mattress. That was the first time I learned. Some things can't be fixed. Diane. She wasn't cruel, not like Tyler, but she was blind, or chose to be. She'd smile and say, "Boys will be boys," when he knocked my books off the table. "Oh, Tyler, don't tease your brother," when he called me Mommy's little crybaby at dinner. Brother. They kept saying that word, but I never felt like one. Dad, he just stayed quiet, like he was afraid, or tired, maybe both. I started keeping notebooks, little spiral-bound ones from the dollar store. I'd write in them at night. Not stories, just thoughts, lists, things I wanted. To leave Fresno, to go to college and to hear my mom's voice one more time, and the things I was afraid of. Tyler, being forgotten, becoming invisible. I didn't tell anyone about the notebooks, not even Dad. I remember once, I left one open on my bed, came back from school and it was gone, found it in the trash the next day, pages torn, words scribbled over in red marker. "You're weak," it said, in Tyler's handwriting. I didn't cry, not then. I just burned it in the backyard, watched the edges curl and blacken. That's when I started hiding things, hiding my dreams, hiding my pain, hiding myself. But I never stopped writing. I just started writing in code. Numbers, symbols, things only I could read. School became my escape. I wasn't popular. I wasn't athletic. But I was smart. Teachers noticed. Mrs. Alvarez, my English teacher in 7th grade, pulled me aside one day. "Jordan," she said, "you have a voice. Don't let anyone silence it." I didn't know what that meant then, but I held on to it. Like a secret. High school, I had a plan. Community college first. Then transfer to UC Davis. Major in business. Get out. Build something. I told no one. Not even Dad. But I started saving. Every birthday check. Every Christmas gift. Every dollar I made mowing lawns, washing cars, helping old Mr. Patel at the gas station. I opened a savings account under my name. Only me. No joint. No access. I called it the Fresno Exit Fund. I'd check the balance every Sunday night. Watch it grow. $217, $432, $689. Each number was a step closer to freedom. Tyler found out during junior year. We were arguing over the bathroom. He'd been in there for an hour, music blasting. I pounded on the door. He opened it, steam rolling out. Shirtless, hair wet, smirking. What, loser? Can't hold it? I shoved past him. You're always in there. It's not fair. He followed me into my room. Oh, look, the little accountant's at it again. He grabbed my notebook, the one where I tracked my savings. I lunged for it. Give it back! He held it over his head. Laughed. 12143. That's it? You think this gets you out of here? You think Fresno gives a shit about you? I tried to grab it. He shoved me. I fell back, hit the edge of the desk. Pain shot through my shoulder. He flipped through the pages. Goal, $5,000 by graduation. Oh, that's cute. You think money fixes anything? It's not about fixing, I said, voice shaking. It's about leaving. He laughed. A real laugh. Cold. You'll never leave. You're stuck, just like the rest of us. Then he tore the notebook in half, threw the pieces on the floor, walked out. I sat there, on the carpet, among the torn paper, and for the first time in years, I cried. Not quietly, not silently, full body sobs, like my chest was cracking open, because it wasn't just the notebook. It was the hope, the dream, the belief that if I worked hard enough, I could escape, and Tyler had just stomped on it. But I didn't stop. I started over, new notebook, new tracking system, and I got a second job. Waited tables at Denny's on weekends, worked the night shift at a call center during summer break. I barely slept, but the number kept growing. We won $100, $3,000, $4,500 by senior year. I had $4,800, close enough. I applied to UC Davis, got in scholarship-covered tuition. My fund would cover room, board, books. I was going to make it. I remember the night I got the acceptance letter. I sat on the roof of the garage, looked up at the stars. Fresno air is thick, polluted. But that night, I swear I saw the Milky Way. Whispered, Mom, I'm getting out. I didn't tell anyone. Not yet. I wanted to wait until everything was confirmed, until the money was transferred, until I was safe. But Tyler, he always knew when something was off. He found the letter in my backpack. I came home from school. Dad was at work. Diane was at yoga. Tyler was on the couch, holding the envelope. UC Davis logo in the corner, my name typed neatly. He looked up, smiled. So, you're leaving? My heart dropped. I didn't answer. He stood up. You think you're better than us? You think you're special? No, I said. I just want a chance. A chance. He laughed. You think life gives chances? You think the world cares about some poor kid from Fresno? I took a step back. Give me the letter, Tyler. He tore it. Slowly. Deliberately. Piece by piece. Then he threw it in the air. Let it rain down like confetti. I didn't move. Couldn't. He walked up to me. You're not going anywhere. This is your life. This is who you are. A nobody. Then, he shoved me. Hard. I stumbled, hit the wall. He leaned in. And if you try to leave, I'll make sure you regret it. I believed him. For a week, I didn't leave my room. Didn't eat, didn't sleep. Just stared at the ceiling, wondering if he was right. Maybe I was a nobody. Maybe I'd always be. But then, I remembered Mrs. Alvarez. You have a voice. Don't let anyone silence it. And I thought about my mom. What would she want for me? Would she want me to stay? To be broken? No, she'd want me to fight, so I did. I went to the bank, pulled out $4,800 in cash, put it in a lockbox, Gave it to Mrs. Alvarez. "Hold this for me," I said. "Please." She didn't ask why, just nodded. "It's safe with me, Jordan." I transferred the acceptance, paid the deposit, booked my dorm, packed my bags. When Tyler found out I'd actually done it, he went silent. For 3 days, he didn't speak to me. Then, on the night before I left, he came to my room. I was folding clothes. He stood in the doorway. "You really think this changes anything?" he said. "I think it's a start," I said. He stepped in. Closed the door. I tensed. He walked to my desk, picked up a photo of me and my mom. "You know what I did?" he said quietly. I didn't answer. "I drained your account." My breath stopped. "What?" "2 weeks ago, I got your login from your notebook, the one with the symbols. I figured it out, changed the password, transferred the money. My legs gave out. I sat on the bed. How much?" "All of it." No, that's not possible." I checked. It was there. I put it back. "For a few days, so you wouldn't suspect." I stared at him. "Why?" He smiled, cold. "Because you don't deserve it." Then he threw the photo. It hit the wall. Glass shattered. He walked out. I didn't move. Couldn't. The floor felt like it was tilting. All that work, all that saving, all that hope, gone, stolen. By the person who was supposed to be family. I called the bank the next morning, confirmed it, $4,800. Transferred to an account under Tyler's name. I showed Dad the statement. He looked at it, then at me, then at Tyler, who was eating toast at the kitchen table. Dad said, "Tyler, is this true?" Tyler shrugged. He wasn't using it. Dad looked back at me. "Jordan, I'm sorry, but he's family too." Family. That word. Again, like it meant something. Like it excused everything. I stood up, walked to my room, packed one bag, left the rest. Drove to Mrs. Alvarez's house. She gave me the lockbox. I counted the cash. $4,800, not enough for school, but enough to get me to Davis. Enough to start. I wrote her a note. Just 2 lines. "Thank you for believing in me. I won't come back." Then I got in my beat-up Honda Civic, the one my mom left me, and drove north. No plan, no backup, just hope and rage. Pure, quiet, burning rage. I got to Davis with $200 left, slept in the car for 3 nights, then found a hostel. Shared room. $120 a week. Got a job at a campus coffee shop, then another at a copy center, then a third, tutoring freshmen in math. I worked 80 hours a week, slept 4 hours a night, but I stayed in school, and I started thinking. About business, about what I could build. I'd always been good with numbers, spreadsheets, systems. I started freelancing, helping small businesses organize their finances. One client paid me in pizza, another in gas money. But slowly, I built a reputation. By junior year, I had 5 regular clients. By senior year, I launched a website, called it Clear Ledger. Simple, clean. Meant to help small businesses track cash flow, manage payroll, avoid disasters. I built it myself. No funding, no investors, just late nights, ramen, and a dying laptop. I graduated, no ceremony. Couldn't afford the gown. Just walked into the registrar's office, picked up my diploma, and went back to work. Clear Ledger was growing. I moved into a studio apartment, hired my first employee, a college kid named Marcus. We worked out of a co-working space. Revenue hit $50,000 in year 1, $120,000 in year 2, then a breakthrough. A local news station did a feature on student entrepreneurs. I was one of 3. The segment aired. Next day, we had 200 new signups. Within 6 months, we were profitable. Within 2 years, we had 12 employees. I moved the company into an office downtown. Bought my first real suit. Paid off every debt I'd ever had. Even sent $5,000 to Mrs. Alvarez with a note for the lockbox and for believing. I didn't think about Tyler much, not consciously, but he was there, in the back of my mind. in the way I double-checked every password, in the way I never trusted anyone fully, in the way I worked. Like if I stopped, even for a day, everything would collapse. Like if I wasn't perfect, I'd be nothing. Then, 3 years after launch, we got acquired, not bought out, not shut down, acquired by a mid-sized tech firm in San Francisco. They wanted our platform, our team, our vision. Offer, $4.2 million. I said no. They offered $5.8 million. I said no. Then they offered $7.1 million, and the chance to run the division. As CEO, I said yes. Closed the deal on a Tuesday, signed the papers, shook hands, went home, sat on my balcony, looked at the city lights, and for the first time in my life, I cried. Not from pain, from relief. I had done it. I had built something real, something mine. The next week, I started hiring for the new division. We needed a sales manager. Resumes poured in, hundreds. I reviewed them personally. Then, I saw one. Name, Tyler Maddox. Maddox was Diane's last name, my stepbrother. I froze. Hand trembled, screen blurred. I read the resume. He'd gone to community college, dropped out, worked in sales at a car dealership, then a gym, then a roofing company. Now, applying for my sales manager job. Cover letter. I'm a driven, results-oriented professional with a proven track record in client acquisition and team leadership. I thrive in fast-paced environments and am eager to bring my expertise to a growing tech company. Lies. All of it. I knew his track record, fired from the dealership for stealing commissions. Quit the gym after he got into a fight with a client. Roofing job lasted 3 months. And team leadership? He once got suspended from high school for convincing 3 other kids to skip class and steal beer from a 7-Eleven. I stared at the screen, heart pounding. Should I ignore it? Delete it? Let it vanish? But something in me wanted to see him, to look him in the eye, to see if he'd recognize me or if he'd just see the CEO, the boss, the man he broke. So I scheduled the interview, set it for 10 a.m. Friday. Told my assistant, send him to conference room B, I'll be there. The morning of, I wore a gray suit, blue tie, shined my shoes, looked in the mirror. You're not that kid anymore, I said. But my hands were shaking. At 9:58, I walked to the conference room, sat at the head of the table. 2 minutes later, the door opened. He walked in. Taller, thicker, hair receded. But the eyes, same. Cold, calculating. He didn't recognize me. Smiled. Mr. Reyes, good to meet you. I nodded. Have a seat, Tyler. He froze. Looked up. Our eyes met. Recognition. Slow. Then sharp. You? Yes, I said. It's me. He sat down. Hard. I didn't know this was your company. I didn't either, I said. Until I saw your resume. Silence. He shifted. Look, Jordan, call me Mr. Reyes. He swallowed. Mr. Reyes, I didn't know you'd be here. I wouldn't have applied if I'd known. Why did you apply? He hesitated. I saw the job posting, thought I could do it. You were fired from your last 3 jobs. That's not 3. He looked down. Things were hard after you left. I almost laughed. Hard? I lost my way, he said. But I've changed. I want to build something real. Like you built my college fund? He flinched. I'm sorry, he said. I was young. I didn't understand. No, I said. You understood exactly what you were doing. Silence. I stood, walked to the window, looked out. You stole $4,800 from me, I said. The money I saved for 8 years. The money that was supposed to get me out of that house. Out of that life. I know. You tore up my acceptance letter. You broke my mom's photo. You told me I'd never be anything. I was wrong. I turned. You think sorry fixes that? No. But I'm trying to do better. I walked back, sat down. Why? Should I give you a second chance? Because everyone deserves one. I leaned forward. You don't get it, do you? This isn't about forgiveness. This is about accountability. You took something from me. Something I can never get back. He looked up. What do you want from me? I want you to feel it, I said. Just for one day. What it feels like to have everything taken. To be told you're nothing. To work your hands to the bone and still come up short. He frowned. What are you talking about? I stood. You're hired. His eyes widened. Wait, really? For one day. What? You start today. Sales manager. Full benefits. Salary, $85,000 a year, he stared. You're serious? Yes. But there's a condition. What? You report to me, directly, and you follow every order I give. No questions. No excuses. He hesitated, then nodded. Okay, I can do that. Good. I stood. Welcome to the team, Tyler. I walked out, left him sitting there, confused, excited, thinking he'd won. But I hadn't hired him to succeed. I'd hired him to break. Not like he broke me, but like life breaks people who don't learn, who don't change, who think the world owes them. Spent the day preparing, wrote a list of tasks, menial, humiliating, but all within company policy. First, clean the break room, coffee spills, trash overflowing, microwave full of moldy containers. Second, organize the supply closet, boxes everywhere, pens, paper, toner, all dumped in piles. Third, deliver handwritten notes to every employee. 97 of them, each one a fake feedback request. How can we improve your experience? But handwritten. In my handwriting. Fourth, stand at the front desk for 2 hours, greet visitors, smile, answer phones. Fifth, attend the team meeting, sit in the back, say nothing. Sixth, compile a report on last quarter's sales. By hand, on paper, no computer. I gave the list to my assistant. Give this to Tyler at 10:15. Tell him it's his first day priorities. She looked at it. Jordan, this is a lot. It's his job, I said. She nodded. Walked out. I sat in my office. Listened. At 10:17, I heard him. What the hell? Is this? My assistant. Mr. Reyes said these are your top priorities for the day. This isn't sales. This is janitor work. Those are the instructions. I heard him storm down the hall. Then silence. An hour later, I peeked out. He was in the break room, scrubbing the microwave, face red, jaw clenched. At noon, he came to my door. Can I talk to you? I looked up. Yes, Tyler? This isn't what I signed up for. You signed up for the job. These are your tasks. But I'm the sales manager, and you'll be doing sales after you complete your assignments. This is ridiculous. I stood. Is it? Is cleaning up messes ridiculous? Is organizing your space ridiculous? Is serving your team ridiculous? He glared. You're punishing me. No, I said. I'm teaching you. Teaching me what? To be your slave? Teaching you humility. Something you never learned. He stepped forward. You think you're better than me? I think I earned my place. You're trying to take a shortcut. I worked hard. Not hard enough. He slammed his hand on the desk. You don't know what I've been through. I leaned in. I know exactly what you've been through. Because I lived in the same house, ate the same food, breathed the same air. But I didn't steal. I didn't break. I didn't give up. He backed up. You want a real chance? I said. Prove it. Do the work. Earn the respect. Then maybe, just maybe, you'll deserve a seat at this table. He stared, then turned, walked out. At 4:30 p.m., he came back. Hair messy, tie crooked. He dropped a stack of papers on my desk. The report, he said. I flipped through it. Sloppy. Misspelled. Numbers wrong. I looked up. This is unacceptable. He exploded. I've been cleaning toilets and running errands all day. I don't have time to be perfect. You had 8 hours. I'm not a robot. No, I said. You're a man who refuses to take responsibility. He leaned on the desk. You don't get it. Life's not fair. People like me, we don't get breaks. I stood. People like you? You mean people who blame everyone else? People who think the world owes them? People who steal from their own family? He didn't answer. I walked around the desk. You know what I did the night you stole my money? I slept in my car. I counted every dollar. I worked 3 jobs. I ate ramen for a year. I studied while I waited tables. I never missed a class. I never gave up. I stepped closer. And you? What did you do with my money? He looked away. I already knew. I'd checked. He bought a truck, took a trip to Vegas, blew it all in 3 months. Answer me, I said. I don't remember. Bullshit. Silence. Sat back down. Your employment is terminated, effective immediately. He snapped. You can't do that. I just did. You hired me. You gave me the job. And I fired you. On your first day, for failure to meet basic performance standards. This is personal. No, I said. This is professional. You were unqualified, unprepared, and unwilling to learn. He grabbed the desk. You're doing this because of the past. I looked him in the eye. Yes, I am. Because the past matters. Because what you did matters. Because I spent years rebuilding what you destroyed. And I won't let someone like you walk into my company and act like they deserve anything. He backed up. You're just like Diane, he said. Always playing victim. No, I said. I'm the one who survived. He turned, walked to the door, stopped. You think this makes you strong? Firing me? Making me clean your damn microwave? No, I said. What makes me strong is that I didn't become you. He left. Door clicked shut. I sat there, alone. And for the first time, I felt free. Not angry, not vengeful, just free. Because I realized something in that moment. I didn't need to punish him. I didn't need to win. I just needed to know, beyond doubt, that I was no longer that scared kid on the floor, that I had built something too strong to be broken, too real to be stolen, too mine to ever be taken again. A week later, I got a letter. Handwritten. From Tyler, I don't agree with what you did, but I understand it. I've spent my life blaming others. But maybe, just maybe, I need to start owning my choices. I'm going back to school, community college. Not for a job. For me. I'll never make up for what I did. But I can try to be better. And Jordan, I'm sorry, not because you made me, but because it's true. I read it 3 times, then I folded it, put it in my desk drawer, next to my mom's music box, the one I found in the trash years later, the one I glued back together. It doesn't play anymore, but I keep it as a reminder that some things can't be fixed, but they can be held and honored and turned into something stronger. I still run the company, still work hard, but not like before. Now, I sleep. I laugh. I even love. I met someone. Last year. Her name is Elena. She's a teacher. Works with kids who've been through trauma. She says I'm healing. I tell her I'm trying. We're building a life. Not perfect, but real. And every morning, I look in the mirror. And I say one thing. Not I made it. Not I won. But I'm enough. Because I am. And if you've ever been told you're too much, or not enough, or never going to be anything, this is for you. You are not what they said. You are not what they stole. You are not what they broke. You are the one who kept going, who kept writing, who kept saving, who kept fighting. And one day, you'll stand in a room they can't enter, with a power they can't touch, and you'll look them in the eye, and you won't need to say a word, because your life, your survival, your triumph will speak for itself. I drove to Davis with $200 left, slept in the car for 3 nights. The first night I parked behind the campus library, windows fogged, cold seeped through the seats. I wrapped myself in a thin blanket, the one my mom used to drape over the couch. Smelled like her perfume, faint, faded. But there. I stared at the ceiling of the car, listened to the hum of distant traffic, a siren, a laugh, Someone walking by, talking on the phone. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Tyler. Him holding the acceptance letter. Tearing it, laughing. Then the bank statement. The numbers, the transfer, $4,800, gone. And Dad. He's family too. I kept replaying it, over and over, like a broken record. On the second night, I moved to a 24-hour laundromat. Sat in a plastic chair near the dryers, pretended I was waiting. For clothes. An old man folding shirts looked at me, nodded, didn't say anything. I nodded back. We were both pretending. By the third night, I was exhausted. My back ached. My eyes burned. I walked into the campus hostel at 6 a.m., paid $40 in cash for a bed in a shared room. 8 bunks, smelled like sweat and Febreze. I took the bottom one, put my backpack under the pillow, didn't take off my shoes, just lay there. Staring at the underside of the top bunk, a name was carved into the wood. Miguel. I wondered who he was, if he made it, if he ever looked back. I didn't care about comfort. I didn't care about friends. All I cared about was staying, getting through, surviving. First day of classes, I wore the same clothes I'd worn the week before. Jeans, gray hoodie, sneakers with a hole near the toe. Professor called roll. Jordan Reyes? Here. He looked up. You're late. I'm not. You're in the back. I know. He frowned. Sit up front next time. I didn't answer. Just stared. He moved on. After class, I went to the financial aid office. Told them I'd lost my funding. They said, come back when you have paperwork. I said, I don't have paperwork. I have nothing. They said, we can't help you. I walked out, sat on a bench, head in hands. A girl sat down beside me. You okay? I didn't look up. No. She waited, then said, I'm Lila. I work at the campus coffee shop. We're hiring. I looked at her. Dark curls, freckles, kind eyes. How much? $9 an hour. Tips on weekends. I stood. I'll take it. She smiled. Be there at 5 a.m. Wear black pants. I nodded. That night, I washed my only pair of black pants in the hostel sink, hung them over the shower rod. They were still damp when I put them on the next morning. Cold, clammy, but clean. I got to the coffee shop at 4:45. Lila handed me an apron. Name tag says Jordan? I tied the apron. Yeah. You look tired. I am. She handed me a training manual. Learn the menu. You're on espresso. I read it. Twice. By 6 a.m., I was making lattes, hands shaking, not from caffeine, from fear. What if I messed up? What if I got fired? What if I had to go back? I made 10 drinks, all perfect. Lila said, not bad. I didn't smile, just said, thanks. By the end of the week, I had a schedule. AM, 9 a.m., coffee shop, 3 p.m., classes 3:30, 7 p.m. Copy center, I'd applied the same day, porn 9 p.m., homework 10 p.m., 1 a.m., tutoring, I posted flyers, math help, $15 HR, sleep, 1 a.m., 4:30 a.m., 6 days a week, Sunday, laundry, groceries, 1 hour of sleep extra. I lived on instant noodles, peanut butter, and coffee. Sometimes if I had a good tipping day, I'd buy a banana or a granola bar. I stopped going to parties. Stopped watching TV, stopped calling anyone. My phone had one contact, Mrs. Alvarez. I texted her once a month, just one word, alive. She always replied, proud. The first time I got sick, it was November. Fever, chills, cough that rattled my ribs. I worked anyway. Couldn't miss a shift, couldn't afford to. By noon, I was dizzy, dropped a tray of drinks. Coffee spilled. A customer yelled. Manager pulled me aside. Go home. I can't. You're burning up. I'll sleep when I'm dead. He looked at me. Really looked. Then said, go. I'll cover you. But don't come back until you're better. I didn't argue. Just left. Walked back to the hostel. Crawled into bed. Slept for 14 hours. Woke up weak. Thirsty. But alive. Next day I returned. He said, you're a damn fool. I said, I know. He gave me a raise, 10 or 50. An hour. I almost cried, but I didn't. I just said thank you, and kept going. Winter came. Fog rolled in. Cold settled deep. I didn't have a winter coat, just the hoodie. Bought a second-hand one from a thrift store. $12.99. Smelled like mothballs, but it had a zipper. And pockets. I wore it every day, even when it rained. One morning I slipped on ice outside the coffee shop, fell hard. Hip cracked against the sidewalk. Pain shot through my side. I got up, walked inside. Lila said, "You're limping." "I'm fine." "You're not fine." I made drinks. Slowly. Carefully. At break, I sat in the back, unzipped my coat. Blood on my shirt, from where the skin split. I didn't even feel it. Lila saw it. Gasped. "Jordan!" "It's nothing. It's not nothing. You need stitches." "I can't afford a doctor." She looked at me, then said, "Wait here." She came back with antiseptic, gauze, tape. "Lift your shirt." I did. She cleaned the cut, hands gentle. "Why are you doing this?" I asked. "Because someone should." I didn't speak. She finished. "Tape the gauze. Don't get it wet." I nodded. That night, I sat in my bunk, touched the bandage. For the first time in years, I felt seen. Not fixed, not saved, but seen. I started talking to Lila. Little things. Classes, weather, a bad movie she'd watched. One night after closing, she said, "You want to grab food?" I hesitated. "I have to study." "You've been studying all day." "I can't stop." She looked at me. "Jordan, you're going to break." "I already am." She didn't argue, just said, "Come on, I'll pay." We went to a 24-hour diner, ate burgers, sat in a booth. She said, "Tell me one thing that makes you happy." I thought. Long. Then said, "The smell of rain on hot pavement." She smiled. "That's a good one." I said, "When I was little, after a storm, I'd run outside. Just stand there. Breathe it in." Mom called it the earth breathing. Lila said, "She sounds nice." She was. Silence. Then she said, "You don't have to do this alone, you know." I looked down. "I don't know how not to." She didn't answer. Just reached across the table, put her hand over mine. Warm. Real. I didn't pull away, but I didn't hold on either. I just let it be. For a moment, that winter, I passed all my classes, Dean's List. I didn't care. But the coffee shop manager did. He gave me a bonus, $200. I used it to buy textbooks for the next semester, and a pair of gloves. Spring came. I applied for a tutoring grant. Got it, $500 a month. For 2 hours a day, helping struggling freshmen in calculus. More stability. But still not enough. I started freelancing, helped a local bakery organize their books, fixed their payroll, saved them $200 in tax penalties. Owner gave me $200 cash, and free pastries for a month. I ate croissants like they were medicine. Then I helped a student-run magazine. They were losing money. I built them a budget, cut costs, got them sponsors. They paid me an exposure, but I didn't care. I was building a portfolio. By sophomore year, I had 5 clients. I called it Clear Ledger. Simple name, simple idea. Track the money, fix the leaks. I built a website on a free WordPress template, no photos, just text. But it worked. Clients found me. One was a tech startup, small, 2 employees. They liked my work. Offered me a part-time role, $18 an hour, remote. I took it, worked late. Always. But the money helped. I moved out of the hostel. Into a studio apartment. $650 a month. No AC, leaky faucet. But it was mine. I bought a second-hand desk. A chair. A mini fridge and a plant, a little succulent. From Target. $3. I named it Survivor. Watered it every Sunday. It lived. So did I. But Tyler, he never left. Not really. I'd wake up sometimes, heart racing. Dreamt he'd found me. That he'd drained my accounts again. That he was laughing, or worse. That he was right. That I was a fraud. That I'd fail. that I'd end up back in that house. On that floor. Broken. 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 I started seeing a counselor. Campus program. Free Dr. Kim. Calm. Patient. First session, she said. Tell me about your family. I said, I don't have one. She said, everyone has a story. I told her, everything. Mom, Dad, Diane, Tyler, the money, the letter, the shove. She listened, didn't interrupt. When I finished, she said, you survived. I said, surviving isn't living. No, she said, but it's the foundation. I went back every week, talked, cried, sometimes screamed into a pillow she kept in the office. She said, anger is not your enemy, suppression is. I started writing again. Not in code, not in notebooks, in journals. Long entries about fear, about shame, about the weight of silence. One night I wrote, I am not what he said I am. I am not a leech. I am not nothing. I am not weak. I am not broken. I am becoming. I read it every morning. Like a prayer. Junior year, Clear Ledger grew. I hired my first employee, Marcus, a sophomore, good with spreadsheets. Paid him $12 an hour, out of my own pocket. We worked from a co-working space. $80 a month. Shared a desk. Shared a laptop. We got our first big client, a chain of 3 coffee shops. They paid $2,000 a month. I almost fainted. When the check cleared, I bought Marcus a sandwich and a new keyboard. We celebrated with cheap soda. Revenue hit $50,000 that year. I paid off my student loans. All of them. Typed the final payment online. Watched the balance go to 0. Then I called Mrs. Alvarez, first time in years. Her voice. Jordan? Yeah, it's me. Silence. Then, you did it. I did. I always knew. I didn't say anything, just cried, quietly, so she wouldn't hear, but she did. Proud of you, son, she said. I hung up, sat on the floor of my apartment, looked at the succulent. Survivor, I said. We made it, but I wasn't done. I wanted more. Not for money, for proof. Proof that I wasn't the kid on the floor. That I could build, create, lead. So I scaled. Hired 2 more employees. Moved to a real office. Got a domain. A logo. Business. Cards. Clear Ledger started getting attention. Local news. A feature. Then a tech blog. Then investors. But I said no. I didn't want to sell. Not yet. I wanted control. Autonomy. Power. Because power, that was the one thing Tyler never had. And the one thing he tried to take from me. So I kept building. And the closer I got to success, the more I felt him. Not physically, but in my mind, whispering. You'll never be anything. You're just a leech. You don't deserve this. I'd shut my eyes, breathe, repeat, I am enough, I am enough, I am enough. By senior year, we had 12 employees, office downtown, glass walls, city view. I bought my first suit, tailored, navy blue, wore it on launch day of our new platform. Photos online, me at the podium, smiling. Someone tagged Tyler in it. I didn't know until he called, 3 a.m. I answered, silence. Then, so, you made it. My throat closed. What do you want, Tyler? You think you're better than me? I don't think about you. Bullshit. You dream about me. I know you do. I didn't answer. You think money fixes everything? He said. You think a suit makes you someone? No, I said. But it keeps me warm. He laughed. Cold. You're still that scared kid. No, I said. But you're still that angry boy. He hung up. I sat in the dark, phone in hand, and for the first time, I didn't feel fear. I felt sorrow. For him. For what he'd become. For what he'd never heal. Because healing, it doesn't come from taking. It comes from facing. And Tyler had spent his life running. From guilt. From shame. From truth. I kept going. Clear Ledger grew. Profitable. Stable. Then the offer came. Acquisition. $7.1 million, CEO of the division. I said yes. Closed the deal. Signed. Shook hands. And for the first time, I believed it. I had won. But winning didn't feel like victory. It felt like silence, like the storm had passed, and all that was left was me, whole, scarred, but standing. Then the resume arrived. Tyler Maddox, sales manager. And I knew. This wasn't just a job application, it was a test. Not for him, for me. Could I face him? Could I hold power without becoming him? Could I forgive without forgetting? I didn't know, but I had to try. So I said yes. To the interview, to the meeting, to the reckoning. And when he walked in and didn't recognize me, I finally understood. He didn't see me, never had, because to see me, he'd have to see himself, and that was the one thing he could never do. He sat in that conference room, tie too tight, shirt wrinkled like he'd slept in it. He looked older, not in years. We were the same age. But in the way your face caves when you've spent a decade pretending you're not hollow. His hands trembled slightly when he reached for the water glass. I noticed. Not because I cared, but because I remembered. Used to tremble like that. After he shoved me. After he laughed. After I picked up the pieces of my mom's photo and tried to glue them back together with school paste. Back then, I thought power was silence. That if I didn't react, I'd win. But silence isn't power, it's prison. And I'd spent years locked, inside. Now, I had the key, and I was going to use it, not to destroy him, but to free myself. Welcome to the team, Tyler, I said. He smiled. A real one. Smug, triumphant, like he'd pulled off a con, like he'd beaten the system again, like he'd found a shortcut through life. Straight into my company. He stood. I won't let you down, Mr. Reyes. I didn't smile. I hope not. Then I walked out. Left him there, basking in his victory. Didn't look back. My assistant Naomi was waiting outside. You really hired him, she whispered. For one day, I said. She frowned. Jordan, is this about revenge? I looked at her. No, it's about truth. She didn't understand, not yet. But she would. I spent the next hour preparing, not just the tasks, the tone, the precision. Every assignment had to be legal, ethical, within policy. But everyone had to cut, not with cruelty, with clarity. Because the cruelest thing you can do to a man who's lied to himself for years is make him see. So I wrote the list, hand-delivered it to Naomi. Give this to him at 10:15. No exceptions. She nodded, then hesitated. What if he quits? He won't, I said. He needs this too much. And I was right. At 10:17, I heard it, his voice, sharp, disbelieving. What the hell is this? Naomi calm. Mr. Reyes said these are your top priorities for the day. This is janitor work. That's what's on the list. A pause. Then footsteps. Fast. Angry. I didn't move. Sat at my desk, fingers steepled, listened. He stormed into the break room, slammed the door. I pulled up the security feed on my laptop. There he was, Tyler Maddox, my stepbrother, the boy who told me I'd never be anything. Now scrubbing coffee stains off the microwave with a sponge. Face red. Jaw clenched. He scrubbed hard. Too hard. Like he was trying to erase something. But you can't scrub away who you are. Not with soap. Not with rage. Not with denial. I watched him for 10 minutes. Then he stopped. Stood there. Hands on the counter. Head down. For the first time, he looked tired. Not angry. Not smug. Just tired. I closed the feed, walked to the window, looked out at the city, and whispered, Mom, I'm not afraid anymore. At noon, he came to my office. Knocked. I said, Come in. He stepped in, tie loose, hair messy. This isn't what I signed up for, he said. You signed up for the job, I said. These are your responsibilities. This is humiliating. Is it? I said. Or is it just work? He stared. You're doing this because of the past. I'm doing this because this is what the role requires on day one. Orientation includes facility maintenance, team support, and administrative groundwork. That's not in the job description. No, I said, but it's in the employee handbook, section 3.2. All new hires must complete onboarding tasks as assigned by direct supervisor. He opened his mouth, closed it. I leaned forward. You want to be sales manager? Great. But you don't get to lead until you learn to serve. He laughed, bitter. You think cleaning up after people makes you noble? No, I said, but it makes you human. He stepped closer. You think you're better than me because you have a fancy office and a stupid title? I don't think about you at all, I said. Not until today. He flinched. I stood. You stole from me, you broke me, you told me I was nothing. And for years I believed you. My voice cracked. Just once. But I'm not nothing. I built this. Every line of code, every client, every dollar, I earned it. While you were spending my future on a truck and a Vegas weekend. He looked away. So yes, I said. This is personal, because you made it personal when you took what wasn't yours. When you chose cruelty over family. When you decided I didn't deserve a chance. He turned back. I was a kid. So was I. Silence. He swallowed. I didn't think it would matter. It mattered, I said. It changed everything. He looked around. My office. The view, the nameplate on the desk. You made it, he said quietly. I survived, I said. There's a difference. He didn't answer. Just stood there, then turned. Walked out, I let him go. At 4:30 p.m. he returned. Dropped a stack of papers on my desk. The report, he said. I flipped through it. Handwritten. Sloppy. Numbers off by thousands, spelling errors. Missing data. I looked up. This is unacceptable. He exploded. I've been cleaning toilets and running errands all day. I don't have time to be perfect. You had 8 hours. I'm not a robot. No, I said. You're a man who refuses to take responsibility. He leaned on the desk. You don't get it. Life's not fair. People like me, we don't get breaks. I stood. People like you? You mean people who blame everyone else? People who think the world owes them? People who steal from their own family? He didn't answer. I walked around the desk. You know what I did the night you stole my money? I slept in my car. I counted every dollar. I worked 3 jobs. I ate ramen for a year. I studied while I waited tables. I never missed a class. I never gave up. I stepped closer. And you? What did you do with my money? He looked away. I already knew. He bought a black Ford F-150, drove it to Vegas, lost $3,200 at the tables, blew the rest on drinks, hotels, and a tattoo he got drunk. Born to win. It wasn't even grammatically correct. Answer me, I said. I don't remember. Bullshit. Silence. I sat back down. Your employment is terminated. Effective. Immediately, he snapped. You can't do that. I just did. You hired me. You gave me the job. And I fired you, on your first day, for failure to meet basic performance standards. This is personal. No, I said. This is professional. You were unqualified, unprepared, and unwilling to learn. He grabbed the edge of the desk. You're doing this because of the past. I looked him in the eye. Yes, I am. Because the past matters. Because what you did matters. Because I spent years rebuilding what you destroyed. And I won't let someone like you walk into my company and act like they deserve anything. He backed up. You think this makes you strong? He said. Firing me? Making me clean your damn microwave? No, I said. What makes me strong is that I didn't become you. He froze. I kept going. I didn't steal. I didn't lie. I didn't run. I faced it. Every day, every dollar, every failure. And I built something real. He turned. Walked to the door. Stopped. You're just like Diane, he said. Always playing victim. No, I said. I'm the one who survived. He left. Door clicked shut. I sat there, alone. And for the first time, I felt free. Not angry, not vengeful, just free. Because I realized something in that moment. I didn't need to punish him. I didn't need to win. I just needed to know, beyond doubt, that I was no longer that scared kid on the floor. That I had built something too strong to be broken. Too real to be stolen. Too mine to ever be taken again. I didn't celebrate. Didn't call anyone. Just sat. Looked at the city and breathed. Deep, slow, like my lungs had been clenched for 20 years, and now, finally, they could open. A week later, I got the letter, handwritten, on cheap notebook paper. No envelope. Just folded and left at the front desk. Naomi brought it to me. Says it's from Tyler. I took it, hands steady, opened it slowly. Jordan, I don't agree with what you did, but I understand it. I've spent my life blaming others. But maybe, just maybe, I need to start owning my choices. I'm going back to school. Community college. Not for a job for me, I'll never make up for what I did. But I can try to be better. And Jordan, I'm sorry. Not because you made me, but because it's true. I read it 3 times, then I folded it. Put it in my desk drawer, next to my mom's music box, the one I found in the trash years later. The one I glued back together. It doesn't play anymore, but I keep it as a reminder that some things can't be fixed, but they can be held and honored and turned into something stronger. I still run the company, still work hard, but not like before. Now, I sleep. I laugh. I even love. I met someone last year. Her name is Elena. She's a teacher, works with kids who've been through trauma. She says I'm healing. I tell her I'm trying. We're building a life, not perfect, but real. And every morning, I look in the mirror. And I say one thing. Not I made it, not I won, but I'm enough. Because I am. And if you've ever been told you're too much, or not enough, or never going to be anything, this is for you. You are not what they said. You are not what they stole. You are not what they broke. You are the one who kept going, who kept writing, who kept saving, who kept fighting, and one day, you'll stand in a room they can't enter, with a power they can't touch, and you'll look them in the eye, and you won't need to say a word, because your life, your survival, your triumph, will speak for itself. Have you ever had to overcome opposition from people who should have supported you? How did you find the strength to pursue your dreams despite their discouragement? I would love to hear your stories in the comments below. If this narrative resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear that their worth is not determined by those who fail to see it. Thank you for listening to my journey. And remember that sometimes the greatest gift toxic people give us is showing exactly what we do not want to become.